This is a statue in Paris, France, in the Jardin des Plantes. Who is this man? Why is his statue in the beautiful garden in Paris? This man is Jean-Baptiste Pierre-Antoine de Monet, Chevalier de Lamarck. He is more commonly known as Jean-Baptiste Lamarck. Lamarck was born in Besançon in northern France and was the 11th child in a poor aristocratic family. Although his family was traditionally a military one, and several of his older brothers were in the army, Lamarck's father insisted that he enroll at the College of the Jesuits at Amiens. After his father died, however, Lamarck immediately enlisted with the French army at 17. Even at that young age, he displayed enough courage and loyalty during battle in the Pomeranian War that he was promoted to officer. But then, while horsing around, his lymphatic glands became inflamed, and he was sent to Paris for a complicated operation and treatment. While on commission with the army, Lamarck studied medicine for 4 years before his true interest in botany took over his career. He studied botany under Bernard de Jussieu, a notable French naturalist. At 34, Lamarck published his first academic works, entitled Flore Françoise. He was accepted into the French Academy of Sciences after this publication. After acting as keeper of the royal garden for 5 years, Lamarck was appointed professor of invertebrate zoology at the Muséum National d'Histoire Naturelle. It was here that Lamarck's scientific theories grew. Lamarck's theories are commonly misunderstood, and this video is an excellent demonstration of the common beliefs.
So what's in here? But why did some species die out? And how did others develop and change? Back in the Natural History Museum, Chris Stringer pointed out that scientists had come up with evolutionary theories before Darwin was even born.
Darwin wasn't the first to propose evolution had happened. The idea had been around for a long time. For example, there was a French biologist called Lamarck, and he believed that creatures had changed through time by passing on characteristics that they accentuated during their life. So, for example, if giraffes constantly were stretching their necks to reach vegetation, then that characteristic will be passed on, and the stretched neck would be passed on to the next generation, and that in turn would produce an even more stretched neck.
Today we know that Lamarck was basically wrong. Characteristics we acquire in our lifetimes aren't passed on to our children. So that, for example, trees that are bent in the wind don't produce bent saplings. And skinny parents who take up bodybuilding don't produce muscle-bound children. However, at the time, his ideas provided at least an alternative to the biblical view of creation.
In these 3 famous publications, Lamarck outlined his evolutionary theories. His idea of soft inheritance was indeed wrong, but his 2 more important ideas were his focus. He suggested that there are 2 forces at work upon animals over time. The first was the complexifying force. He suggested that as organisms evolved over time, they grew more complex in systems and structures. Second, the adaptive force caused organisms to adapt to their environment. He viewed this mostly in marine invertebrates, in the way that their structures seem to reflect their environment. Being one of the first scientists to suggest that animals were adaptive at all, and suggesting that they evolved more complex and were adaptive, Lamarck was the true father of evolutionary theory. Lamarck died in Paris, with his peers still ridiculing his ideas, and still poor. Lamarck had followed his passion in science and developed ideas that were before his time. Suggesting evolution before gene theory was even a thought shows that he was a truly creative thinker. He persisted in his ideas despite the societal resistance, and proved that he was a scientist to be revered.